I own multifamily property. I've done flips. People who just think, hey, that could never be me. I could never be financially stable. That is possible. And like even the most average person can do it with a few simple tips and tricks.
Have you ever wondered how to make $1 million with social media? Meet Breyanna Nava, who solved her fear of having a boss by becoming her own boss at the age of just 18. She now owns a successful vending business.
Vending is something that's accessible to everybody, and that's why I love it, and that's why I teach it, because it's something almost anybody can do.
And has amassed over 650,000 followers by sharing business and financial insights online.
Within a month of doing social media marketing, I got to 200,000 followers. And then within a year, I got to 680,000 followers. What I see most of the time is people give up too easily.
Welcome Breyanna Nava to the show. Breyanna is a 23-year-old entrepreneur that owns a successful vending business and has been a real estate agent since 18. She transitioned then to investing at 21, and today she's amassed over 650,000 followers by sharing insight on finance and business. Breyanna, welcome to the show.
Hi. Yes, I'm Breyanna. Thank you for having me.
Sure, totally. Let's kick it off with, what's your mission on this planet?
My mission is to help empower younger people, average people who think that they could never be, we haven't been taught anything about finance. So people who just think, hey, that could never be me. I could never be financially stable. That is possible. And like even the most average person can do it with a few simple tips and tricks.
Love it. And what inflection point made you start your business?
I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I have really bad ADHD. And so it's hard for me to stick to one thing at a time. And so then I just started. So it's also hard to sit and have like a boss who's always telling me what to do because I just want to do things. So I started that way because I've done multiple businesses, and then the vending business and real estate. Those both took off, but I've done more than that. It's just from having a really bad ADHD.
Yeah, that is such a gift then apparently, but let me double click on that. What did you do before in your previous life, before the real estate thing? Like, well, what's the thing, the normal job?
So right out of high school, I became a real estate agent. But when I was in high school, I worked at Panda Express. I was jumping from job to job. Like I'm telling you, the ADHD. I was at Yum Yo's, Panda Express, serving yogurt. I worked at a shoe store at the mall. I worked at Walmart for 2 years. Like I was jumping around jobs all of high school since I could work.
Wow. Okay, let's fast forward to today. So what's the thing that you sell today? Let's say I'm a typical customer. What's your core offer that I would buy from you?
If you're a typical customer, a lot of people send me emails that they want to either help getting their real estate license, becoming an agent. They want help looking for properties and becoming a real estate investor or buyer, seller, whatever it is. Or they want a vending machine at their location. Or they want to buy machines from me. So it's normally typically real estate, vending, or they want to just learn about personal finance. That's like, I get a lot of questions around the real estate vending. You get a lot of questions in the middle, like, hey, how do I budget? How do I, like, small things like
that? How do you deliver that? Is it like on-demand courses? Is it one-to-one? Is it group coaching? How does it work?
So I have a form that people can fill out if they need to buy or sell real estate. And with that, I like to work with a lot of people one-on-one. I do have 2 other people who help me, but they'll reach out and then they'll ultimately get connected to me at the end. I haven't fully outsourced to where everybody else is doing it, so I'm still very involved. So, I mean, if someone works with me, they're going to be working with me at the end. Even if someone takes their information first, it always comes back to me, and I usually work one-on-one with them for the final steps.
Clear. If I were to interview some of your clients, what specific value in your offering would they rave about most?
They would rave about having that one-on-one personal touch to it. I feel like a lot of people, they reach out to somebody to get help, and then somebody else ends up helping them. But with me, I'm the one who ultimately at the end works with you one-on-one. Some people never even meet the person that they got the advertisement from, but with me, they get to see me firsthand and talk to me firsthand.
Let's talk price points then. How much is it? Low to high, if there are different offers?
So here's the thing with me is that I charge what everybody else charges. So for real estate, I'm a real estate agent, 6%. I mean, that's what you're going to get from any other agent, but you're going to get my personal expertise. And a lot of people, because I know other things about marketing, I know about business, investors tend to come to me more because I also have invested. I own multifamily property. I've done flips. So they're like, hey, if we want a real estate agent that can help us do investing, I'm going to go to her. If you want to help buying or selling just your primary residence, I've done that too. I bought a primary, and I've helped hundreds of people buy primary residences. So whatever it is, you have that expertise where I can help you find something that's actually going to be worth it long term instead of making you house poor.
Okay, sure, but let's say for the people who reach out to get a real estate license, or they do one-on-one coaching for, I don't know, personal finances, right? You don't get 6%. You charge the dollar amount.
I do a dollar amount. I do $249 for 30 minutes coaching, and that we can increase, or we could do more coaching sessions. We can always work out. I'm always very happy to work with people because I know I want to make finance accessible. So normally I've had people that they've scheduled multiple coaching calls with me for whatever it is. They can schedule for whatever they want. And they've come back and been like, "Hey, I bought my first house. I used all the things you told me on our last call 2 months ago. I did all the research you said. We had a
Yeah.
plan." And then they said, "Hey, I just bought my house. I just need help evaluating my numbers, so I can find a tenant. How can I advertise this? How can I do? Now I need the next steps." And this, so it was worth it for them because we always come to a plan. The first thing I ask is, "Hey, by the end of this call, what do we need to accomplish so this can be worth your money?" That's it. And we're going to get to that. So we're not going off on tangents and finding all kinds of other things to talk about. I was like, I'm going to get you to that goal that you want by the end of this call. It's whatever they prefer. Google Meet, Microsoft Teams, Zoom. Sometimes I'll just call them up while I'm driving because they prefer that. They just want to have a phone call.
Take me on a timeline. When did you launch the offer stack or the current offering as is today?
I've been in social media for about 2 years. I started at a lower price because nobody knew who I was, nobody knew I existed, and now I have such high demand that it makes sense to do 249. But for people, I started it about 2 years ago.
Okay, let's talk about success and great segue. So now you have high demand. What does it mean? Like, how many paying customers do you have today?
I can get a couple a week. As far as like my coaching, it's kind of I turn it on when I don't have a busy schedule. I mean, I'm a full-time real estate agent. I'm doing my own investing. So right now, I'm not accepting clients until it'll come up when I have more time. Right now, I have 3 listings. I have 4 buyers I'm working with. And I have vending locations. I just added 3 more vending locations. So, but when we turn it back on, I mean, it's normally I get at least 1 or 2 a day of people who are looking to learn. And if it's slower, maybe like 5 a week, 3 to 5 a week, if it's like a slower time, but typically that's pretty average.
Okay, so let's say like 20 a month, but you're not working with all of them.
Yeah.
Um,
It's because I turn it off when I don't have time because things come up. I'm running
yeah.
multiple businesses. It's more like a time thing that I can't work,
Okay,
and I want to work with them one on one.
but let's say 249 times 20 is 5K, right?
Yeah.
5K a month that will come through coaching. Um, is that, I mean, apparently it's not the primary source of income. If you sell like real estate, 6% on like $1 million listing is of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah, I mean, my main source of income is my real estate business, and then I use vending. It's a good vending pays my car payment, my insurance. It's a good income that I think anyone could start. Vending is something that's accessible to everybody, and that's why I love it, and that's why I teach it because it's something almost anybody can do. Real estate, people get scared. Even if real estate can make you way more money, vending just seems so much more accessible, and so I get way more questions about vending.
Yeah. Okay, so like in one sentence, like what vending machines, like just like that I can picture this. What exactly are you doing there?
So vending machines, you could buy a machine for $1,000, put it in a location that you have permission, and you could make 300 to 500 a month off of that cash flow. And that's what people are looking to do with rental properties. So imagine that you could go buy a rental property for 300,000 and get 500 a month cash flow, or you could buy $1,000 vending machine and get $500 a month cash flow. So
Yeah,
it's
I
like,
get it.
a lot of people see that as way more accessible.
That makes sense. Okay, cool. Very clear. Let's talk about growth. I think that's interesting. So, looking at your business a year ago compared to today, how is it different? How is, let's say, how is the customers and the top line, the revenue changed?
So my business a year ago was when I started real estate. It was way more real estate focused. I feel like now I have a lot of focus on, I get a lot of clients from online. It used to be cold calling. My business was mainly cold calling. Now I'm getting people who come to me. I don't have to really call them as much. I haven't done cold calling in I don't know how long. It's probably been since I started social media. But that's the main difference is that my business has pretty much tripled in size. And now with that, I have people coming to me, and a lot of my real estate business is now referrals too, because I can only service whoever's in Arkansas. But everybody else, I can help them out. I still call them, but I'll connect them to another agent. I still get my referral fee, my percentage, but they can actually do all the paperwork and help them out from a different state. But I'm always one of the touch points to refer them out to somebody.
Clear. Okay, that makes sense. So I guess quickly, if I were have to have that secret conversation with your accountant on the cost side, I guess it's just you, right? You don't have contractors, you don't have any cost.
I mean, I do for social media marketing. I do. So I pay a transaction coordinator every single contract $250. I do the sales part. I love sales. I hate paperwork. I don't like sitting there and doing papers. So I have someone I pay for every contract, $250 per deal. And they'll do all my paperwork. They'll just fill out my contracts. I don't have to sit there and do the busy work. Or they'll call the inspection company. They'll set up the inspector, stuff like that, all the back end work. So I have people who do my thumbnails for YouTube. I have people who do my editing for YouTube. I have people who make my banners for my vending machines and my stickers and my logos and all that kind of stuff for marketing. But a lot of the sales is just me. For vending, it's me selling. I go to the company. I do interviews with them. I do measurements and I do all the selling. If it has sales, it's me. Everything else is kind of outsourced and worked on.
Clear. Let's talk about lead gen customer acquisition then. So how do you actually get eyeballs and awareness? How were you able to do all of that in 2 years?
Social media marketing. Within a month of doing social media marketing, I got to 200,000 followers across platforms. And then people just started asking me. And then within a year, I got to 680,000 followers across platforms. And then people started asking me even more. So now it's all social media marketing. I utilize everything. I utilize TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. And what I find that is if you make content, you might as well put it on everything because it might do terrible on TikTok, but then it blows up on Instagram. You might as well just put it everywhere.
Yeah, clear. And then what's the funnel from this awareness to people get the credit card out or they want to work with you for whatever, vending, personal finances, and so on and so forth? Is it like Instagram DMs or like how does it work?
So what I find is that the reason people take out money to pay to work with me as opposed to somebody else is because of the credibility aspect. You'd be surprised that I've done a couple deals over my course of real estate. I've done several real estate deals, but there's people who are like 40, 50, and they're experienced. I don't have that life. I'm 24. So I've done a lot for my age, but there's people out here who've done this for 20 years. So why wouldn't they go to them instead of me? And it's because of credibility. You're making yourself an online, an influence. You're an influencer. So people see you as more credible just because there's so many people who listen to you. I've seen people go to me over someone that has 20 years of experience just because there are 660,000 people following me. You'd be surprised how much credibility that lends you. And also because you're also putting your information out there. A lot of these people, you don't know who they are, even if they do have 20 years of experience.
Clear. So what has been the secret then to grow and convert the audience or to build the audience?
Consistency, having a clear call to action. I think if you're consistent, it does way more than if you are intense. Consistency trumps intensity. So if you post daily and you do that for what I see is people ask me all the time, how do I grow on social media? How do I make money? Especially people from high school. They're always asking like, hey, like, don't you making money from all these avenues? Now, how'd you do that? Well, I always tell them that you have to be willing to stick to something for a pretty long period of time to get the results. And what I see most of the time is people give up too easily. Even with vending, people start it, they call like 4 businesses and then they're like, they all said no. I called 100 businesses before I got a yes. I called 1,000 people to get someone to let an inexperienced real estate agent list their house. I didn't give up. So it's about being consistent, doing the reps every day. And then if it's not working, if you do it for 30 days straight and something's not working, then we need to tweak it a little bit. Then do that again, 30 days straight. Something's not working, tweak it a little bit. But everybody just gives up after a week of something not working. I'm a failure. It's not going to work. It's done.
Yeah, clear. Yeah, you're a hustler. You're just like you keep crushing it. I like you just like forcing it until it works. That makes sense. Let's talk about the future. So can you triple your business by yourself in the next 12 months? Yes or no?
Absolutely not. Not by myself. I feel like we're getting to that point where you caught me where I'm at a little bit of a bottleneck where we're going to need to start outsourcing more, expanding more. But that's where I'm at now, where right now I can still manage it. But in the next 12 months, we want to keep expanding. It's not going to be able to stay exactly how it is. We're going to have to outsource, maybe get a buyer's agent, someone who just helps buyers, maybe have someone that I need more people to fill machines so I don't have to activate. Maybe I can just get locations. Someone can be hired to just go fill machines, stuff like that. But we're still working on all the logistics.
Yep. And what strategy or tactic will get you to this massive growth in the next 12 months? Is it finding more team members? Is that like the thing, or is there anything else?
I feel marketing is the one thing you can outsell yourself from any mess, I always say. So if you're outselling yourself, then you have more demand than you have more than you can even service. I think that's a good position to be in, and that's the position I am right now. So I feel like marketing is first and foremost, as well as improving the product. So machines, when I started, I didn't have money. I had to buy the cheapest machines there is. Now I can afford to get the really fancy $3,000 machines, and I'll probably have less headaches. Those cheap machines, yes, they're cheap. You can buy them, make 500 a month, but when something goes out, boom, there goes another 500. There goes another, because it was cheap. You bought it cheap. What do you expect? These fancy machines, yes, they cost a couple thousand, but I'm not gonna have to worry about them for years. They're gonna be working. They're gonna be chugging along. It's gonna be no problem. So I think that's where now that we've leveled up a little bit. Now we can get the nicer things, and it's gonna make business easier.
Clear. What's the biggest potential channel for you to drive massive growth going forward?
My ultimate goal is YouTube. I feel for social media, I feel like you can get the most reach on TikTok, and Instagram is a little bit more loyal to you. Like they're a little bit more connected to you. YouTube is where you're going to have that long-term evergreen content. The stuff that is YouTube's a search engine. People go there to find things. People will see videos from years ago where I just said, hey, here's how you buy your first house. It's still getting views. But on TikTok, Instagram, you post something, I mean, it just disappears into the abyss. You post it for a week, maybe it could get some traction, and then it just disappears. Maybe every now and then one will blow up again, like a year later, but it's very rare. YouTube is
Clear.
long.
And what's the biggest thing holding you back personally on that journey?
It's the time and not having everything outsourced yet. But it's because I'm very attached. You know, like many entrepreneurs, it's hard to delegate things.
Yeah.
Because like you feel like you do it well. It's hard to find someone who's going to do it just as good as you when you've been doing it for so long, you know?
Next section is called Favorite 5. It's an even faster paced section. You can answer in one word. What's your favorite book or business book?
I Will Teach You to Be Rich. It's my new favorite right now.
What's your favorite way to get inspiration or to learn and grow?
I love David Goggins.
What's your favorite person that you are studying, your role model?
Currently, Alex Hormozy and Bigger Pockets. I love Bigger Pockets.
What's your favorite online tool for building your company?
Canva. I love Canva. Marketing, everything on Canva. And Notion. It's hard because I love Notion too.
Me too. What's the biggest thing on your mind?
I think, well, I was telling you I have ADHD. So recently I got medicated for that. So as far as I know, I feel like I'm going to level up even more now because I've been scatterbrained for so long. So my ADHD is on top of my mind right now.
Clear. Personal section. How many hours do you work per week?
I work a lot of hours. I work pretty typical hours, like 40 hours a week, but it's kind of on my time. It's when I want to do it. So it's not like it's not 9 to 5. It's just an hour here, 2 hours here, 2 hours there.
What's the situation? Single, married, or any kids?
Married and 2 dogs.
2 dogs. Nice. Your age is 24. You already shared that. And final question, because you also want to give some advice for the audience. If you could go back in time and have a conversation with your 20-year-old self, let's say in your case with your 18-year-old self, what's the best piece of advice that you would give to your younger self?
I would have bought real estate sooner. I would have managed my debts more. I feel like when you start making more money, you start buying more things. I would be wary of spending so much when you're young. But still, you can set aside money to have experiences. But I would have probably saved more. I would have probably invested more. I feel like you should always invest more than you think you should. And then anytime I was gonna have experiences, I should have set aside money for that instead of just, you're young, you think you can get it all back. When I started making money as a real estate agent, I was like, I'm young, it doesn't matter, I can get all this money back. But nothing compares to that compound growth. I mean, really, like every dollar I spent back then was worth like $10 now. You know, so it's like it's almost like I spent $100. That was $1,000 that I spent. You know, but I didn't think about it like that.
Yeah, it's insane how far you are in your thinking in the age of 24. I'm very impressed by that.
Thank you.
Yeah, amazing. Good. So this is Breyanna Nava. She's a
Nava.
24-year-old Nava, sorry. She's
You're
a
good.
24-year-old entrepreneur that owns a successful running business. She is into real estate. She has also massive social media following in almost no time. I would say also, like, with the love-hate relationship with her ADHD. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Um, she's a hustler before she did all of that, has had tons of jobs, but now is crushing it with what she does. She's running multiple businesses in parallel. Her revenue increases. Her team is super lean. She has a few contractors that help her with the things that she doesn't want to do. She will crack the million in followers soon. She will likely crack the million in revenue also very soon. She is, only limited by time right now, but builds out a system out to actually leverage herself more, to really take it to the next level. And thank you so much for sharing your passion, Breyanna.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me. I do have one note, and I always like to tell people that I don't know everything. I'm still learning myself. I mean, I'm 24. And so everything I've done up to this point is from all my mistakes. So I always say, "Hey, I can't tell you everything, but you can learn from the mistakes I've made." I've made a lot of mistakes. I'm probably going to keep making mistakes. Like I'm not I feel like people look at social media and they think, "Man, I wish I knew everything they knew." I was like, "No, you don't. I failed so much." So you just
Yeah.
like you
But
fail
you fail
forward.
fast. Like what you do is like you fail fast, fast, fast. You always learn from it, and then you hustle, and then ultimately you're like in 24 at the point where some people are not yet in their 50s. So
Yeah,
that's good.
I don't sit in it. I don't sit in my failure. I'm like, well, it is what it is. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much, Breyanna.
Awesome. Thank you.
That was Breyanna Nava. You learned how to build a following by sharing your expertise online. So how can you unlock the next level in your business?